Alright, welcome back to the channel. Warhammer Man back in the studio, and today we're going to be taking a look at the new Kill Team starter set. This is the best way to get started in Kill Team, in my opinion. We're going to bust it open and take a look inside. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like and subscribe for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team, Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, and warcry content as well. Everything from reactions, reviews, and unboxing to our typical tutorials on how to build, how to paint, and pretty much anything to do with tabletop games. Let's take a look at the back here and see what we've got inside. So for 2 players, playtime approximately 30 to 60 minutes, ages 12 and up. Contents: this box contains Kill Team Recruit Rulebook, 96-page rulebook, Kill Team Token Sheet, 10 6-sided dice, 3 combat gauges, transfer sheets for both the Korps Krieg and Orc Commandos, and then Killzone Octarius 30 by 22 inch Kill Team playing mat, 6 barricades, Orc Scrap Piles terrain, and includes 22 Citadel miniatures, Veteran Guardsman Kill Team of 10 models, and Orc Commando Kill Team of 10 models, plus, of course, 1 Bomb Squig and 1 Commando Grot. Nice. Alright, so let's bust it open and take a look inside. Alright, so here we have our contents. So fits nicely in here. This is the typical size of, say, like a Blackstone Fortress type game or something like that. Not the big thick box from like the Octarius set. It's also more of like just a flimsy cardboard. Nothing serious, nothing wrong with that, but just kind of making an observation. So if we just kind of take a look, immediately we see our sprues here. So right off the bat, we have our terrain sprues. And here, just like it said on the box, we have these are like the Orc Scrap Piles. So we see we have 3 of the larger scramble pieces of terrain, which are like the flat and kind of wide pieces. And then we have 3 of the larger Orc barricade pieces of terrain, which are a little skinnier and long, but stand vertically, like upright. And this is a nice little start to get rolling with. But eventually you're probably going to want, or definitely going to want, some larger pieces of terrain. But this is definitely a great start for you. So the next thing that we're going to have inside the box is our little sprue here with the barricades and our ranges or measuring devices, combat gauges, whatever you want to call them. So we see we have here 6 of the smaller barricades. These are additional pieces of terrain that are set up by the players at the beginning of the battle. So you basically deploy the battle map before playing, and then afterwards you get to supplement the battle with a couple extra pieces of terrain, so you can kind of fill in some gaps on the actual setup, or basically put them in strategically where they would benefit you. Each player will automatically get to set up 2, and as you advance on later, you'll have the option to set up a 3rd during the scouting phase, but that's way longer into it. And then also we have our gauges. So we see we have 1 long gauge, that is the 6-inch measuring gauge or red shape. And then we see we have 2 of the smaller gauges, and they actually have 2 different size measures on them. So the diagonal side isn't a measure. Actually, they have 3 measurements on them. I'm sorry. Diagonal side is just random. And then we have the smallest side is our triangle. And then we have the circle is our top side of the skull. And then we have the long side is the square. And those measure out to 1, 2, and 3 inches. So essentially it's 1, 2, 3, and 6-inch measuring with our 2 total tools. And then we get 2 of the same one. And this is pretty much a necessity for playing. You could get away with just a regular tape measure or other combat gauges you already have, but this is a very nice little setup. And then obviously having the little mini barricades is crucial, not only to supplement your terrain, but this is nice and definitely a good little setup. Normally you would pay just for this and the token sheet $30. So this is a nice setup. Getting both those right in the set for $70 is definitely a value. There's not currently the scatter and scramble terrain sold separately, but I imagine that would probably be around the $30 range as well. So we see already that there is lots of value in this box. So next we have the commandos. There are 3 sprues here of the commandos. Let's go ahead and take a look at them. I have actually already went through and built a set of these, and to tell you the truth, there are lots of options, bunch of accessories, and these models are absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't checked it out previously, I did a video on how to magnetize your knob, who comes with options for a power claw and then this big old axe that we see right here, and also a couple head options as well. So if you're not sure how to build them or you can't decide, definitely check out that magnetization video and go ahead and do that, because then you won't have to decide. You can use both. And the cool thing about this set is it does have detailed instructions how to build your guys. With the commandos, you really don't have to make a ton of decisions because you're going to get your grot and you're going to get the squig as well. And then there's 10 total guys inside of here. And you get to build one of each of the types of guys. And then you actually end up with like just 2 regular commandos. So there's a bunch of different like variances of a commando with various like weapons or special equipment. And you can build one of each of all those. I highly recommend that you do exactly that. And then you will have the option basically in this set to just pick 2 guys to sit out each game. So you can essentially, I like to take basically 9 commandos, one of each specialism, and then the grot. The other option is to take the squig instead of one more of the commandos, or not take the grot, or take the squig and the grot and 8 commandos, etc. But I like to take I like to take the grot and then all commandos, but the squig is fun too. But again, you'll have basically 2 guys that get to sit out each round. And these models are absolutely phenomenal. We have like the rocket here. We have the big axe for the, that's our weapon for the knob. We have like the flamer or scorcher right down here. And this is like very well, the instructions are like very clearly state exactly how to build everything. You have to go through and kind of find the number that matches up to them. But once you do that, clip off the pieces, and the instructions are very nice for the set. So, and here is our second sprue right here. So we have like the knobs backpack. We have the zap gun for the comms guy. We have the sniper rifle down here. A bunch of like cool knives and pistols and stuff. Again, just great models, extremely well detailed, and lots of ways. There's a ton of extra heads. There's extra heads for the grot. There's extra heads for all your commandos. Extra heads for the knob. All kinds of different options. There's a bunch of little accessories like extra pistols and knives and all kinds of stuff. So no 2 sets will ever be the same. One thing I did notice after I built my sprues is that all the backpacks, with the exception of the knobs backpack, are interchangeable. So you do have the option to just use whatever backpack on whatever guy you want. Just an observation I noticed after I built all mine. And here is our third sprue. And we see here we have like the breacher ram right there. We have axe that you can use instead of a knife. We have a bunch of different various knives. Some cool gas masks. We have the power claw for the knob. There's our knob's body. Lots of cool bits on this one. Again, the detail on this is absolutely phenomenal. These orcs are great. And if you were to purchase these commandos separately, this kit alone is $60. So right there, if this box is retailing 99 USD, this kit is the majority of the box already paid for. So next we'll go ahead and take a look at our Death Korps of Krieg. So this is going to be 2 of the larger sprues and then 1 like smaller kind of half sprue. So let's take a look at them. So here is the smaller sprue. Has a bunch of our random extra las guns on it. We see a couple different kind of like las guns held at the side. We see a little melee weapon. There is a guy pulling out his shovel, a couple heads, some extra little like shovel bits, the bomb detonator, quite a few little bits on this sprue here. Definitely has some cool stuff and amazing detail. Very, very nice. Now with these Krieg, there's going to be much more options to how to build these guys because there are over 10 specialists. So there's actually, I think, 9 kinds of specialists, but there's 4 different weapons for your special weapons guys. So you do have to sort of figure out how you want to build these guys because you're not going to be able to build every single guy. So here we have our next sprue. And again, these guys are super awesome, very, very nicely detailed. They have awesome detail. Bunch of extra grenades, extra weapons, various heads. The instructions are very clear how to build these guys. You won't have any trouble with that. But again, the most important thing is figuring out which weapons you want to put on your guys. Right off the bat, for the sergeant, 100% without a doubt, he should be built with the plasma pistol and the power sword. So that is a for sure, definitely build this. After that, it's kind of up to you which guys you want to build. I know which ones I like, but that's not going to be the same for everyone, and it's not going to be the same for different matchups too. But I will kind of make some suggestions along the way. And here is the final sprue. And again, here we see some of these special weapons and various options, as well as our final 5 bodies. See, we have plenty of las guns, so you can build a bunch of regular dudes. We see we have a multi-gun down here. We have a flamer right here. We have the sniper rifle right up here. Here is the chainsword, which again, we will not be using. Actually, I think you can use that on the confidant. So maybe you will be using that. Really just kind of figure out which ones you want to use. It's tough to decide right off the bat if you really don't know a lot about the game or whatever. But I will make some recommendations as we kind of thumb through that book. So, but that is it for them. One little bit did fall off here, but it's just in the box, nothing to worry about. So next we have our mini core rulebook. Now it says that it is a mini core rulebook, but this does include all the rules from the standard rulebook. So you do not need to purchase the standard rulebook separately. The reason it is called the mini rulebook is because it is physically smaller. So this is, instead of being like your typical, 8.5 by 11, it's basically half the size of that. So next we have basically these 3 items all packed together. Went ahead and opened them. So we have the recruit edition book, we have the assembly manual, and then we have the token sheet. So we'll go ahead and set those aside for a sec. So just for a size comparison now, here is the recruit edition book, and then here is the core rulebook. And it is literally like half the size. All right, so here we have the recruit edition book, and this is really cool actually. I was hoping that this was going to be exactly what it turned out to be. So just kind of flipping through here, we'll kind of take a look at it, and I'll do a little breakdown. This is something that was no longer, wasn't previously available. So the larger box initially, the Kill Team set, had what was called the Octarius book in it. And that was a very thorough book with all the rules for both of our kill teams, and then a bunch of extra missions and all kinds of like special objective cards and special tactics and everything. So the full rules are not included for these gangs, but instead is included a little set to get you started with. So the full rules are included in the actual rulebook, but your actual gang rules are not, like, or a warband. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, gang rules are not actually included in this. It does have all the data cards for them, but it doesn't include everything that's in the Octarius book. So at some point in time, if you are loving these 2 gangs and you're going to be playing them on the regular, or these 2 teams, you will probably want to pick up that Octarius book. All right, so when we open this up here, we see Kill Team Recruit Edition on the cover. And then we see we have the contents listed through here. I'm not going to go through the actual contents, but we will actually flip through the book here because it is awesome, and I think it's important to kind of show this off, how they have it set up. I really like how they set this up. So it starts off with a little kind of snippet here. In the grim darkness of the far future, millions of souls march hopelessly into the fires of war. Their lives are merely meat for the grinder, fodder for callous lords, pawns for laughing gods. Whether grievous wound fell them, fear and madness take them, or the abyss claims them, these unfortunate are lost to an uncaring galaxy, their efforts unrecorded in the pages of history. But this is not the tale of the forsaken multitudes. This is the tale of the few that made it through. With grit and determination, they faced the horrors of the galaxy, earned the honors and scars, and wore them both with pride. They charged headlong into the abyss, with blades drawn and guns blazing, and with decisive action, they etched their names into the pages of history and shaped the fate of the world. Yeah, I really like that. It definitely makes it more about your individuals and less about these just massive wars going on with thousands of casualties. So we see here it says, "Welcome to the kill zone." And this is showing off the full Octarius set. So we see here that we're not going to have these large 5 pieces of terrain, but everything else shown on here is included in here. And this is the kill zone Octarius, which is sold separately for $100. And then with our current set and that kill zone Octarius, we would have everything pictured here. And then we see just a little bit about collecting, and it shows some of the kill teams fully painted up. This is the Krieg kill team, and here we have the Kommandos as well. And then next it talks a little bit about gaming. Essentially just gives you the breakdown of the game. And then we see a little background about the commandos, and it just kind of shows off some of the specialists down here as well with some fully painted pictures. So you're definitely going to be building the commando knob. We will also have a rocket boy who shoots like rocket launcher basically. The comms boy is pretty cool as well. Definitely someone you want to have. The slasher boy uses knives and throwing knives. He is really good in hand-to-hand combat, but also can like sneaky and silent, like kind of assassinate people at range or up close. This is just a regular old commando boy, so nothing special, but you will get to build him as well. And then we have the Daka boy. He is a kind of like rush forward and shoot type guy. He is really good shooting, and especially the closer he gets. And then the sniper boy is good from a distance. He can also remain stationary and take some pot shots without being able to be shot back at. So those are all some nice guys. That's 7 members of the 12-man team right there. And then we see here as well, we have the Death Korps of Krieg, and these are veteran guardsmen. And again, we see a bunch of the models all ready to go. So we see just a standard trooper. We see the comms veteran. He helps to basically boost other members. He passes on orders from your leader and then also allows other members to be more efficient. He is a definite yes for me. The bruiser is a sort of veteran kind of melee guy. He's still good at shooting, but is very durable in combat. He is not one of my top priorities, but good nonetheless. Then we have the medic. He has the ability to save a guy if he's close enough when the guy is shot and almost dies, or to heal a guy who is already damaged, who is still alive. And that's his little medic pack, which is not really useful in game terms. Then we have just another regular trooper here with the bayonet on the tip of his weapon. All the models actually have the bayonets, and then we have our demo here. He essentially has like a little mine he can plant and then blow up at range. He is very good. And then we have the zealot. He essentially has like a little book that he inspires the rest of your members with. Again, can be very good. He basically buffs other guys, but makes them very efficient. Then we have the Hardened Veteran. He is a tough guy, been through a bunch of battles, and he has like a crazy metallic power claw hand thing. So these are 2 of your better hand-to-hand combat options. And then the sergeant himself is pretty good, although we will not want to build him like this. We want to build him with the plasma pistol and the power sword. So the opposite of what is pictured right here. And that is a 100% decision on my part. He is always better with the plasma and power sword. There's no drawback to taking that. And then when we kind of flip it open here, we see the tools of war. So we have our 10 dice, which is definitely what you need to play. We see our combat gauges, and they show off the sizes. Pentagon is 6, square is 3, circle is 2, triangle is 1. And I am actually in the process of making a video on painting up the combat gauges and color coding them so that it is nice and easy when you play, because they're often referenced by the color or shape and not by the actual number corresponding with it. So in the beginning, it's nice to have it all correspond with the colors, because your brain doesn't have to think, because you're too busy thinking about killing your enemy. And then we have the kill zone all set up. So this is your full set right here. That's everything in the box. We have the 22 by 30 inch playmat. We have our scatter and scramble terrain from the sprues we saw earlier. And then we have our 6 barricades set up as well. And then a bunch of bros duking it out. And then here it shows our data cards, which are in the back of this book. And then, of course, it shows off our tokens as well. We have a ton more than that. We will go ahead and pop those out at some point in time, and it will explain what they all do. So now that we've seen what comes in the set, this is where this book is really cool, and I love this for people that are either new to the hobby, new to the game, or going to be teaching new players. It essentially starts off with simplified rules and then builds on top of them through a series of missions. So the same way in a game like Call of Duty would start you off by teaching you how to pick up a weapon, equip it, and then run over and shoot it, how to reload it, etc. This basically does the same thing. It takes you through various phases and parts of the game and allows you to learn the rules, and then you can keep building them on top of each other, and then eventually you are ready to play a full game. So the first mission right here is called Mobile Engagement, and essentially what you're doing here is a supply convoy has been neutralized by an airstrike in a nearby grid sector. Your kill team has been ordered to advance to the site and secure what remains. But an enemy kill team is ahead of you with orders to do the same. You must engage at once to neutralize the enemy, all the while ensuring that you are the first to reach the supply convoy. So this mission is exclusive to this set, and this is one of the learner missions. Very cool. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I will go through this one just to give an example. So for the overview, it says, welcome to your first Warhammer 40,000 kill team battle. This mission will show you how to move your models around the battlefield and shoot with ranged weapons. Operatives for deployment. To play this battle, you will need the following operatives and their data cards. So you're not going to be using all your guys. You're going to be using, for the veteran guardsman player, 3 regular trooper veterans and 1 gunner veteran equipped with a melta-gun, which the melta-gun is great. I always would take that. Commando player is going to have 2 commando boys and 1 commando daka boy. So you have 2 regular guys and 1 super shooty guy. And then it says keywords. Keywords are unique tags used to identify operatives. They are always displayed in the keyword bold font and can be found on each operative's data card. Some keywords are in orange and have a skull symbol, e.g. commando. This detonates a faction keyword. So we have either commandos or veteran guardsmen, as we see. And then here at the bottom, we have the actual map itself. So basically, we will set up our regular board. We will put our 3 pieces of scramble terrain and our 3 of the larger orc barricades. And then the goal here is the commandos will have 1 deployment zone designated by the red. And then the veteran guardsmen will have the deployment zone in the bottom corner designated by the blue. And then you will just take your longer measuring gauge and you just put it in the corner and just do a semicircle, like a quarter circle, and that is your deployment zone. And then the goal in this one is to knock down one of your opponent's guys and then get to the supply zone as fast as possible. And we see the supply zone is on the opposite side of the board long ways. And then here we have the actual breakdown. It's going to explain to you the difference between the engage order once you are activated and not activated. And then we also have the same thing for the conceal order, but we're not going to be using that yet. And then it has setup, basically tells you where to set your guys up at, explains the actual objective to you. And then it talks about actions and activations, essentially breaking down how each guy has their activations. So for this one, it starts you off with just the ability to do a normal move and a dash. So automatically, your first activation, the guard will go first. They will normal move 1 guy and then dash. And then the commandos will do the same. And then it will be on to the next operative. And because this is an altering operative game, 1 guy goes with 1 of his guys, your choice. And then the other guy goes with 1 of his guys, their choice. And then it explains to you after you have made a move and a dash with 1 each of your guys, you will now each have the ability to shoot. So it basically gives you the breakdown on how to shoot, how your opponent will basically be selected as a target. You'll roll your attack dice, they will roll their defense dice, and then you will resolve the successful saves and successful hits. And then you'll do damage to them. And then there's an actual breakdown of what dice you will roll for the weapon and everything. And then, of course, the commando player will go next, and he will have the option to do the same thing. And then you'll essentially just continue through the game. And when you get to the end of the board, the game will end, or when you kill off all your opponent's guys. But the goal here is to get to the drop zone and also try to down somebody. But there's no true winner or loser. This is just meant to help you learn how to play. So now you will have learned some important things, what the activation is and how it works, how you use your APL to activate and move your guys and attack. So you'll have learned move, dash, and shoot. And then there's some advanced rolls right here, like armor penetration. The range for some weapons don't have the same range. And then we have mortal wounds for very strong weapons. And then we have special abilities like the Daka Boy's Daka Dash, where he can pay 1 AP and he can actually dash and shoot for a single activation. And on to mission number 2. So I'm not going to go through all the missions in this book, but they are very cool and they build on top of each other. The next mission is called Take Cover, and this will just have you set up a little bit differently. And the goal is to actually get to cover and then use cover to your benefit. And then it teaches you about the conceal order, so how to hide behind stuff and not be as vulnerable. Teaches you about how line of sight works while interacting with cover. selecting your valid targets and all that good stuff. And then you basically just play through accordingly. Now for this mission, it has used 2 troopers for the veterans, 1 gunner with a grenade launcher, and 1 gunner with the plasma gun. And then for the commandos, it will have used 1 boy, 1 Daka boy, and 1 rocket boy. So this basically, you will have used your same troopers from previously, but now you'll need a grenade launcher and a plasma instead of your Malta. And then you will use your same commando boy and Daka boy, but now you'll have a rocket boy as well. And then once you play through there, they basically just have a debrief at the end, and you will have learned about all the various things so far. And then it's on to combat. And then it talks a little bit about splash, which is basically when there's an explosion, guys nearby can get hurt. And then talks about Boom Boy, the Rocket Boy's special ability, the actual blast rule, which allows you to hit multiple people with a single shot, and then the Gets Hot rule, which basically lets you improve the damage of your weapon, but at a possibility of hurting yourself. And that is a plasma rule. So next we have the melee ambush rule, melee ambush mission rather, and this one is going to use the Sergeant Veteran with the power weapon and plasma pistol, which is the ideal build, the Bruiser Veteran, and then 3 Trooper Veterans. And then of course for the commandos, we have the Commando Knob with a power claw, the Slasher Boy, and the Commando Boy. So this is definitely a time where you could decide if you want to magnetize that power claw, because maybe you want to use the big chopper instead. But the power claw is obviously very good. You could go either way with his. But now here we learn in this mission exactly how to do a charge move. And then next how to fight. And it walks you through the actual charge and fight. And at that point in time, by the end of this mission and playing it, you will have learned how to do all these different things, fighting, falling back, charging, and then we already have learned how to move, how to dash, and all that good stuff. So it takes us to the final offensive and mission 4, and this one is going to use the veteran guardsman player will have a gunner with a grenade launcher, a gunner with a Malta gun, a gunner with a plasma gun, and then the sergeant veteran with the plasma pistol and power weapon, the bruiser, and 3 regular veterans. So in this, you're actually going to be using 8 guys, and then the commando will have 6 of their guys, the Knob with Power Claw, the Slasher Boy, the Daka Boy, the Rocket Boy, and 2 Commando Boys. And this one is more of a traditional mission where you get to do a little bit of everything. So now it's going to talk about essentially setting up, teach us how to do the barricades, how to set up objectives, and then playing the actual battle. It will talk about Overwatch and a debrief for the end of the mission. And then that is basically it. And then it talks about what you could possibly use to expand, buying the, you already have the core manual, obviously, the mini version. But the Octarius book will give you our spec op rules, the equipment, strategical and tactical ploys, and then the Shadow Operations Mission Pack. So this is a nice book to expand, and definitely a necessity if you're going to continue to play these 2 teams, as it gives you a bunch of extra cool bonus rules to build on. And then of course you can buy the Killzone Octarius, which will turn your board from what we have so far into this board, or you could opt to go with one of the other kill zones that will be available undoubtedly as well. I do love that Killzone Octarius though. It is absolutely phenomenal terrain. And I did do a painting tutorial video on that, so if you haven't checked that out yet, I highly recommend you take a look at that. I paint the entire set in real time. It took me about 9 hours, no fast forwarding or cheating or anything, to completely paint it from nothing to a very nice tabletop standard, probably above tabletop standard. So definitely check that out. And I also did a speed painting video on the commandos, and I will do one on the vet guard as well. But it took me probably about somewhere between 3 and 4 hours to very nicely paint the commandos. Then you can go through and add some additional detail if you want. But I did use contrast paints for those, which turned out very, very nice. Again, highly recommend you check that one out. So these are the full data cards, complete rules here. So we see we have a basic trooper veteran. We have the sergeant veteran, and it shows off his profiles. We have our sniper veteran, and then the gunner veteran has the 4 different weapon options available: the plasma gun, melta gun, grenade launcher, and flamer. I would personally definitely build the sergeant veteran, the sniper veteran, And then I would build the grenade launcher, the melta gun, and the plasma gun. So that is already 5 of our 10 built. And for the sergeant, he would have the plasma pistol and power sword. And then for the remaining 5, that's where it gets tough. The confidant is very good. I like him, and I would probably build him with the bolt pistol and chainsword. The demolition veteran is very good as well. I would definitely build him. The zealot can go either way. He's a tough one. So we're already at 7 from what I've said. I really like the medic because he can heal your guys or save a guy's life. So that is 8. And I think the comms guy is an absolute 100% must build. So that is 9. And then you have either the bruiser, which is melee guy, the hardened veteran, which again is very powerful in melee, or the spotter veteran. I like the spotter next. He has the ability to shoot mortars from a distance or to help out one of your other guys. And he provides some great spotting that is crucial against the commandos. So that is the 10 guys I would build. It tells you to build regular troopers and the bruiser to play this game with. I would just build like spotter and use him as a regular guy. But again, that's just for me. Realistically, you probably want 2 sets of the veterans so you can run every option eventually. And then for the orcs, this is easy because you don't have to worry about it. It tells you how to build all your guys that you need. So you're going to have your commando. You can build him with either the slugga choppa. There's a couple of those actually. Then we have the slasher boy, the commando breacher boy, the commando sniper boy. Then we have the commando daka boy, commando comms boy, commando burner boy, the rocket boy, the grot, the knob, which again, you could choose to build him with the power claw or the big choppa. That is up to you, but I really recommend magnetizing it because you may want to use different one for different scenarios. If you're not going to magnetize it, I would gently glue it so that you could pop it off and magnetize it later, or else just pick one. But they're both really good. He's very strong. And then, of course, we have the bomb squig as well. And that is it for the actual book. So as we can see for the actual book, it is extremely detailed and there is tons of fun to be had in there. 4 full missions, and you could easily play them back through if you were having trouble or wanted to revisit one of them. Here we have the assembly guide. Shows off all the stuff that comes in the sprues, and then exactly what bases you're going to put everybody on, how to build them, etc. So we have a bunch of different options essentially. So this shows you, you're going to see situations where you have one body that can be armed with different weapons, and that's what they call the variant build. So here you can basically give him a power weapon and a pistol. You could give him just a regular bolter, or you could give him the grenade and the las gun strapped to his side. And then it will actually go through and show you how to build each guy. So in this case, we would want to build the sergeant with the power weapon, and then we want to give him the plasma pistol. So then we look down here and it will show you how to build the basic sergeant, and then it will show you have the choice of the power weapon or the chainsword. So you pick either one right there. I would pick the power weapon, A71, and then for his other arm, you will have the pistol arm itself, and then you will pick which pistol. You have either the las pistol, bolt pistol, or plasma pistol. I would go with the plasma pistol. And then the same thing, we just keep going down each one. This shows our second guy. So we see that was 1 basically, and that built our sergeant. And then we see down here we have 2. And now for 2, we're going to get to choose which variant we want to build. So in this case, we want to build our demo guy was the one we picked right here. Or alternatively, you could build the sniper guy right there. Some of these parts are interchangeable, but it's specifically some of them will only show you how to build it for one guy. So you may be able to attach the sniper rifle onto a different guy, but like the demo guy needs to have the body where it's crouched down. So in this case, I would build the demo guy, and then I would worry about putting the sniper on a different guy. But that will show you exactly how to build your demo. This will show you exactly how to build your sniper. And then the color coded in the background, either blue, green, or like pink, will show you which guy you're building. So if you decide you want to build the demo guy, you go to the green up here and you see the green background color, and that's a demo guy. If you were going to build the sniper, you would see the pink right here. And then if you were going to build just a regular trooper, you would go with the blue right here. And then next we have either our medic or our spotter. So again, a crouch down body, and then you would have either the medic variant right here or the spotter variant right here. And then again, it just corresponds with the actual colors. So it's very nice how it is laid out as long as you understand what you're looking at. And then you can kind of go through and it shows you, basically this body will allow you to build either a regular guy or a flamer. This body will allow you to build either the veteran with the medic pack next to him or toolkit or something, or the running one like that. And then again, we can just keep kind of going through. Here you have either the plasma gun or comms. Down here we have the gunner with grenade launcher or the zealot. And then this one will do a veteran gunner with the meltagun or the bruiser. Then here we have the hardened veteran or just a regular veteran. And then at the end we have a bunch of extra accessories that you can build or add on to any guy. When it's all said and done, this can get a little bit confusing. And again, you may want to decide later on that you want different guys or whatever. So I would not use plastic glue, or I would maybe not attach all the arms, or just kind of wait and see what you like or don't like. But it's not a big deal. If you build them incorrectly, you may want to get another kit of them down the line anyway. It's not worth sweating like that much. All of them are good, and that's why it's so hard to decide. But the truth is, the setup that they give you is pretty decent. The guard team is more for shooting. They're not great at hand-to-hand combat, so that's why I don't love like the bruiser or the I don't love to gear them up towards combat. If you could just gear them up towards shooting, I should say. And then here we have for the orcs, and very similarly, it will tell you the same thing. Here, if we want to build our commando knob, this is just to build the body and get them ready to go. There's a couple different sights, a couple different head options available to them. And then you're going to go ahead and build either the power claw in blue or the choppa in green. We see the choppa down here, and then on to the next guy. So we see the number 12 corresponds to the knob. The number 13 corresponds to our next guy. And then we'll see here in blue, we can build either the regular commando, or if we go with green, we can build the slasher boy. So the distance being the slasher has an extra knife and a different head with a knife in his mouth, as where the regular boy has a pistol. So the slasher's equipment, he doesn't actually have a pistol, but he has a bunch of extra knives. And then same here with the commando boy. You could build him with the rocket, which is obviously what you want to do. Here we see with the sniper boy, you want to build him that way. This is much easier because you're going to build all the specialists, so you don't have to make those tough decisions. Here we see the comms boy. Then we see the breacher boy is what we want to build. Then here we want to build the burner boy. Then next we have the Daka boy. And then finally we have the grot and the squig. And that will give us our full kill team right here. And I believe this is going to be exactly what your kill team will look like when it's done, because it has you build all of the special variants. And then you will end up with one regular dude here, one regular dude there, and then everybody else is a specialist. Very thorough description, very nicely laid out and color coded. And then here's all our terrain, which you just have to cut out. And next we have our transfer sheets. These are like little decals that are applied with water. If you've never used these before, they are super simple to use. If you want to take it to the next level, these will allow you to do that. And I do have a video on how to apply transfers, especially using microsol or microset. And if you have never applied transfers before, you don't need microsol and microset, but boy, does it make these look amazing. And we're getting towards the end of the box. Here we have our bases. It tells you in the instructions which bases go to which guys, but all the little bases go, all the veteran guardsmen get little bases. All the orcs get big bases, except for the grot and maybe the squig. It'll tell you in the book though, don't trust me, trust that. And then here we have our 10 dice. These are just 6-sided dice. They have 1 through 6 on all the different sides, and there are 10 of them, 5 for each player to use. And next we have our token sheet. These are double-sided, so on each there is a different corresponding token on the back. So for instance, with the objectives, they are numbered 1 through 6. And then when you claim them or they are exhausted, you can flip them to the other color. So you could have one color be black, or one player be black if they have claimed it, and one be orange. Or you could have it be, when there still are charges left to claim, they are still orange, but once they're exhausted, they switch to black. There's a lot of different ways you can play it. And then we also have our little wound markers right here. And then on the back, they have corresponding various things. It will explain to you exactly what all these do, but it allows you to basically keep track of the wounds on your guys. Here we have all of our conceal orders, and here we all have our engage orders. And again, they're orange on one side, and when we flip them over, they are black. And the goal behind them is you pick your order at the beginning of the phase, and then after you activate your guy, you flip it over to the other side, and that shows that you have already used that guy this turn, so it's easy to keep track of. And then we have various little things, like these are bomb tokens, these are loot tokens, and then we have like plus and minus 1 APL stuff, and like banners and all kinds of other things there as well. But when it's all said and done, this is a nice thing to have. Makes it very easy to keep track of what's going on in the game and not have to keep track on top of your head. You know how many wounds each guy has taken, and you know if they've already taken their turn. So very nice and fun to pop out. And last but not least, we have our foldable game board. So this is just the thin paper. It's sort of like a construction paper that's sort of like got a gloss to it. So it's a little more durable, but definitely not going to survive the test of time the same way that these actual kill team boards will, as they are like thick foldable cardboard. So but if we kind of open this up, it is 22 by 30 inches, and it has one design on one side, and it has a similar but slightly different design on the other side, just to make your game a little more immersive. If you do go ahead and get the Killzone Octarius box set with the big terrain in it, it's going to come with the same game board, but the heavy construction cardboard one, which is super durable and again foldable, just not in as many pieces, so it lacks that final fold. So when you fold up the regular game board, it actually folds up to this size basically. So that is it. That is the Kill Team new starter set. I highly recommend this starter set. It is loaded with value for $99 USD. You absolutely cannot beat it. The total value in the set, just off the top of my head, we have $60 for the Commandos. We have $55 for the Veteran Krieg. That is $115. We have $30 for the tokens, the dice, and the measuring gauges and barricades. So that is $145. We have roughly $30 for the terrain as well. That is $175. And then on top of that, the mini version of the rulebook. Normally the larger rulebook would be $40 on its own. So we're talking about $215. And then of course we have the Octarius like mini book in here that's only available in this set. It's not the full Octarius book, so it's hard to assign a value to that. But with over $200 in value in this kit, you really cannot beat it. I highly recommend it, and this is by far the best way to start Kill Team. So if you like that in-depth review, let me know down below. If you have any questions or anything on how to build your guys or how to play or anything like that, I'm glad to help you out there. I will probably do some kind of walkthrough going through the various missions, maybe building the kill teams. I have all kinds of painting tutorials for a lot of the terrain and then also the orcs so far, and we'll do one on the veteran guard if you guys are interested in that as well. Just how to get them on the table looking good in as little steps as possible, but blowing away your opponents with how awesome a paint job you can do with the least amount of skill and time possible. But that's it for today. Make sure you like and subscribe for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team, Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, and Warcry content. I am Warhammer Man. This is Warhammer Man Studios. And that's it for our Kill Team starter set unboxing and review. And I'm out of here.